Hi guys, Shauna here, and this is going to be this week's seated flow. I know we actually missed last week. Things have just been a little bit hectic, but such is life. It's okay if you miss a day or miss a week of something as long as you get back on it. So maybe you guys enjoyed a break last week. There's plenty of other videos that you guys could have done, so I hope you took advantage of that. And maybe you're lazy like Stella and did nothing, and that's okay too. But we're gonna go ahead and start with our seated sequence for the week. And as usual, we have Stella and Duke here, so don't be surprised if they come in and out throughout the video. And once again, as usual, we're gonna start with some breath work. So as always, you have the option to either come into a seated posture or take your Shavasana or lay on your back, whatever feels best for you, however you want to take this. And we're just gonna start coming into our breath. And we're going to be doing a sense meditation. Some of you may have seen the one guided meditation that I did in the Waffles at Midnight group. It's a little bit similar to that, but this is going to bring us through all of our senses. I really encourage you to, if you ever have the opportunity to do this while outside, it's really nice. But you're gonna go ahead and find either your easy seat or go ahead and lie down for this one, whichever way you feel most comfortable. And we're gonna start just by beginning to come into our breath. As usual, taking our time, not worrying too much about changing anything just yet, but just taking note of our breath, maybe lengthening our spine, maybe if we're lying down, grounding down into the floor, breathing in and out through the nose. And with our eyes closed, we are going to begin with the sense of sight. So some of you may be thinking, what is she talking about? But as most of us know, if you look into the sun for a little bit too long, or maybe you just happen to see colors when you close your eyes. So just take a second and try to see behind your eyes. And notice if you can feel the difference between looking and not looking behind your eyes. See if you can completely close everything, and then see if you are able to see with your eyes closed. See if you are visualizing anything. See if you see any light, any colors. Take in this whole sense of sight with your eyes closed. Sometimes people like to have a direction to look. So if you'd like to, you can kind of look with both eyes with your eyes closed towards your eyebrows. So look into your third eye, that spot right between the eyebrows. Or you can look just straight up, straight down, whatever feels most natural and most comfortable to you, or just straight ahead. Just breathing here. The thing with meditation is we're not trying to clear our thoughts, we're just trying to observe them. So just take your time and observe what you might see. For me, quite often I think of like the Windows 98, Windows Media Player spirally things that would come up, if you guys know what I'm talking about. When you would play music and all these visuals would come up on the computer before computers were fancier. And I often see the color purple. So maybe there's a color that jumps out at you. Again, maybe you just are visualizing something or seeing someone or something in your mind's eye. While we're here with our eyes closed, we're going to begin to visualize our entire body. So see if you can see yourself in your mind's eye. And this becomes an interesting little thought experiment, because when we think of our consciousness, when we think of the sense of I, we often think of it as existing behind our eyes, behind our face. So it's quite interesting to visualize our body and visualize our own faces, which in reality we never actually see. We see our faces in mirrors, but we never actually look at our own faces in person. So that's a nice little consciousness perception to play with there. And while we're here visualizing our body, we are going to focus specifically on visualizing our face and our head. So we're going to keep this sense of sight active as we move through the other senses. We're going to come down to our nose. Notice if we smell anything. Perhaps you're outside like I was yesterday and you smell grass. Maybe you're inside and you smell some kind of incense or candle. Or maybe you have animals and you smell your dog. Maybe you smell some food cooking. Maybe you smell nothing. And that's okay too. Just take whatever is coming to you. Don't try to manipulate what you're feeling. Just let it happen and see what's going on. And quite often, along with our sense of smell, comes our sense of taste. So bringing your awareness and your attention and your visualization to your mouth. Maybe your mouth is dry. Maybe you had coffee a moment ago and you can still taste the coffee. Maybe you had some water, some tea, or maybe you just ate. Or maybe you had some gum. Let's take a second and really try to tune into your sense of taste and see if you can marry it with your sense of smell. If there's something that you smell that has a taste associated with it, are you able to visualize that? Working our way out from the center of our face to our ears. This is a very important sense in meditation because quite often we feel disturbed by noise, but we have to remember that noise just exists as sound waves in the air, just like my voice. And it is us that give noise a negative or positive connotation. Noise exists with or without us, and we decide what we want it to mean. So just remembering that if there's any noises or distractions going on around you, that you can let go of any negative connotation you have and just let them exist. And just take a second here to notice what you might hear. Maybe you hear fans, maybe it's hot. Maybe you hear cars passing. Maybe you're outside or you have your windows open and you hear birds. Maybe you live somewhere where you can hear other people talking or yelling. Just take note of whatever sounds are existing and try to let go of any kind of feeling you have towards them. I said it's our ears that turn these sound waves into noise. We are the ones that create the sound in our own mind. So just take a second here. And this time bringing our whole body back into awareness. So visualizing ourselves either sitting or lying. And just taking note of our sense of feeling or touch. Do we feel warm? Do we feel cold? Similar with our ears, the nerve endings on our skin is what turns these waves in the air into hot or cold sensations. Realizing that we give positive and negative connotations to these things that just exist in and of themselves. Noticing if you feel stiff or relaxed. And now coming inward with the sense of feeling and seeing if we feel maybe anxious, if we feel awake, if we feel tired. Just taking note of all these things. And along with the sense of feeling, we're going to guide our attention back to the breath. Visualizing in our mind's eye our chest rising and falling. As we take all of these senses into consideration with our breath. Really feeling each breath deeply. Hearing our inhale and exhale. Smelling the air as we breathe in. Maybe tasting it in our mouths. Sitting here for just maybe one more minute. Seeing if you can just bring the whole body into awareness with all these senses in consideration. And it's okay if maybe you fell asleep. That's all right. So wherever you are, we're going to begin to wake up our body with the same 5 senses. But we're going to go in a little bit of a different order. We're going to go ahead and reverse all the way through. So coming back to our breath, taking a nice deep breath in and out. And begin to maybe wiggle our fingers and our toes. Just keeping our eyes closed, but bringing some awareness back into our body. Be visualizing your body in the room. Again, taking any little movements you might need, fingers, toes, maybe shift your hips around. And we're going to work our way to our ears. So we have this sense of movement once again. Again, taking note of what we're hearing, noticing how we feel about what we hear. Coming back through the sense of taste. Bringing our attention to our sense of smell. And then very gently, at your own pace, go ahead and begin to open up your eyes. So take a second here before we begin moving to kind of just have an open-eyed meditation. Eyes open nice and wide and just take in everything around you. Maybe you're outside, maybe you're at home, maybe you're in a studio or some random place. Just take it all in. Go ahead, nice big inhale and exhale. And if you are lying down, I invite you to begin to make your way to a seated pose. Taking your time, moving as much as you need to. Maybe if you're seated, switching whichever leg is on top, because we were there for a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and find our easy seat. Inhale, lift, lengthen like there's a string pulling us up all the way from our pelvis to the crown of our head. Lengthening our spine, drawing our shoulders up to the ears and rolling them back. Good, breathing here. And we're going to do one of the things that I always like to do is just take a second, close our eyes once again, and take a moment to find something to be grateful for. It can be big, it can be small. If you want to be in a gratitude overachiever today, you could even think of 3. It's up to you. Just taking a moment here before we begin to move. Good. Inhaling deeply through the nose. We're going to exhale loudly through the mouth. We're going to go ahead and inhale, sweep the arms up. You can keep your eyes closed if you want to. Inhaling up, we're going to exhale, shake it out. So inhale, reach. Exhale. Good, we're going to do it 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale. Good. Inhaling up. Exhale. Good. Take a second here, maybe roll out your neck. Take any little movements, shoulder shrugs you might need. You know, we do tend to go through neck rolls a lot in these classes, so you guys are quite familiar with them. But take them fast, slow, whatever you need here. Any wiggles, any movements. We're going to get right into some full body stuff going on. We're going to do a lot of stuff from our tabletop today. So while this is our seated flow, we're not going to be seated for too long. We're going to go ahead, inhale both arms, reach up nice and high. So reach. We're trying to lift our pelvis and lift our rib cage up and out by engaging these lower abdominals to kind of knit the ribs in so we protect our spine here. Reaching up. We're going to go ahead and have a nice little baby back bend if we have it. And exhale, hands through the heart. We're going to go ahead and forward fold. So just bring our palms down. Shake your head yes and no here. Take a moment. Breathe in and out through the nose. Nice and slow. Inhaling up. Hands to the knees, we're going to come through our body rolls and just, again, take our time. Find whatever movements we need. Again, if you're not familiar with these, we're just hinging to one side, down to the middle, and around to the other. Maybe your hips are going to crack. My hips always crack. So we're taking our time here, rolling it out. Breathing in and out the nose, switching direction when we feel ready. Good. Rolling it out. Take 3 more nice deep breaths. Meet me back at your easy seat. Once we're back at this easy seat, we're going to go ahead and inhale, lengthen through the spine. Inhale, reach both arms up nice and high. Exhale, hands open to the side. We're gonna go ahead and bring our palms, our thumbs facing up first, and then we're gonna go ahead and bring them forward. So our palms are facing down, and we're just gonna see if we can just plant our palms behind us. We don't wanna be leaning back, we wanna just plant them down gently. Inhale, lift, lengthen, roll the shoulders back, open the chest gently. Good, breathe here. Good. Inhale, both arms up to center. Exhale, right hand comes down and twists to the left knee. Left hand comes up and back for a nice little gentle twist. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, twist, look over the left shoulder. Breathe here. Good. Inhale, both arms back to center. Exhale, left hand to right knee. Right arm comes up and back. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Good. Breathing here. Take your time. Go ahead and inhale, both arms back to center once again. Nice big stretch. So we're gonna reach. We're gonna bend the elbows, come to cactus arms. So a lot of the times we come through this, which is a little bit lower, we're gonna come higher to our cactus arms. So we have this nice big like football field goal shape going on here. So we're gonna breathe here, and from this position, we're gonna draw the shoulders down from our ears because we have the natural inclination to hunch up. We're gonna draw the shoulders down from our ears, elbows pulled back. And I do invite you guys, I typically when I practice have my eyes closed the entire time. So I invite you to listen to my voice if you're able to, and see if you can keep your eyes closed if you'd like. So pulling the elbows back, lifting, lengthening, breathe here. And we're gonna go ahead and extend now, arms out straight, reaching, like we're gonna grab the walls and we're just gonna go side to side. And as we go side to side, we're gonna go ahead and bring the palm down. So palm down, reach that way, palm down, reach that way. Good. Just to get the torso warmed up a bit, and we're also warming up the delts of our shoulders. So breathing here. Just do one more each side. We're gonna come back to center, inhale, both arms up. Good, reach. We're gonna go ahead and take our right hand, grab our left wrist. Inhale up and over, nice little side body stretch. Good, breathe here. We're trying not to rotate forward, we're trying to just flex laterally. Good, breathe. Inhale, center. Left hand grabs right wrist, everything over to the left side. Good, breathing here. Good. Inhale, back to center. Nice big stretch. So really shrug the shoulders up this time and feel yourself shrug them down. We're gonna go ahead and roll forward over our knees into our tabletop. So right from this big stretch, we're just gonna come forward into our tabletop pose. So take a second here, adjust yourself as you need. We're gonna bring our shoulders over our wrists, knees are about hips width apart. We're gonna go ahead through our cat-cow, but first, before we get there, we're gonna do some pelvic tilts. So I wanna bring some awareness into our pelvis. So real quick, this is an anterior pelvic tilt where like the bowl of my pelvis is pouring forward, and this is a posterior pelvic tilt. So quite often when we stand, we typically stand one way or another, and having any kind of over dramatic pelvic tilt can be quite hard on our spine and our hips. So while we're here, before we begin to move through our cat-cow, I want us to take note of this pelvic tilt first. So try to really kind of knit the ribs in, engage the lower abdominals, and have that tailbone stick straight back. So nice strong flat back, engaging our core here. We're gonna go ahead and tilt the pelvis forward. So we're not doing the full cat-cow motion yet. We're not reaching up like this, but we're just gonna kind of like pop the booty out here with our anterior pelvic tilt. And then we're gonna tuck the tail in for the posterior pelvic tilt. So we're just doing these almost half cat-cows, and we're really bringing the awareness into our pelvis here. Our pelvis is such an important part, and it's really can have a lot of influence on our posture and any issues we might have in our back, hips, and knees. So take our time here. Just go back and forth to this little pelvic tilt, really bringing that mindfulness and awareness in, maybe closing your eyes. This is like slow motion yoga twerking. So if you want, start getting a little bit more dramatic with it. You can go ahead and really stick your butt out, shoot back for a little child's pose. Come forward, tuck the tailbone. Nice little cat pose. So we're gonna start doing this as we come through. We're adding the motions to get deeper into our cat-cow. So if you want, on this cow pose, sit back child's pose. Cat, push through, chin into chest. So inhale, sit back, look up. Exhale, up and rounding the spine. Inhale, lift the chin, sit back, tailbone high. Exhale, chin into your chest, round the spine. And take your time. Notice how you feel. And if this is a little bit too much on your wrists, you can feel free to kind of keep the weight on your wrists light as we sit back and forth. Very gently, we're gonna move back to our tabletop, and we're gonna take a second here and come back into our hips, and we're gonna widen our knees as wide as our mat. And this time, we're just gonna go ahead and drop one hip forward and then the other. So we're just kind of shifting. We're turning inwards with this left hip as our right hip pulls back. And then we're turning inwards with the right hip as the left hip pulls back. Good. So if you want, you can kind of sit back a little bit with these two. So you can sit back to child's pose just a little bit. This is stretching the adductors of the inner thighs as well as the hip flexors. So breathing here, coming back and forth. Good. Take your time. Do one more each side. And you're back in your tabletop. We're gonna go ahead and bring our toes to touch, knees stay exactly as they are. Sit back for a quick little child's pose. Let's take a second here, maybe come down to your forearms. Find whatever feels best for you. Breathing here. Remembering that at any point, if you ever need a break, you can always come back to child's pose. Nice and gently, we're going to begin to work our way forward back to our tabletop. Knees come back in line. And we're just going to take a moment here to check in with our shoulder blades. So we checked in with our hips. Now we're going to do some scapular push-ups. So they're not actually push-ups, so don't run away. We're just doing scapular push-ups. So we have our scapula, if you don't know, is this main bone, our big shoulder blade bone that we think of. And we have these muscles in between these shoulder blades, which really help us to protract and retract the shoulders here. So we're keeping our hands nice and grounded, nice little bend in our elbows to not really dump too much weight on our wrists. And we're going to practice protracting and retracting our shoulder blades. So protracting is when we try to pull our shoulder blades away from each other. So protracting here, and then retracting is pulling them together like we're gonna squeeze a pencil behind them. So we're just gonna do these little scapular push-ups and see how we're in our tabletop here. We don't wanna be too much into like our cow pose or cat pose right now. So we wanna be actively engaging through the abdominals to kind of shoot that tailbone straight back. So we're engaging our core here, and we're gonna go ahead and go through our scapular push-ups. So we're gonna go ahead and inhale as we protract. So going through about 5 more, so protracting, retracting, protracting, retracting. 3 more. And when you're ready, we're just gonna sit back for one more child's pose because your shoulders might be feeling it a little bit. We don't always activate these muscles in everyday life. You guys can stay in your child's pose while I explain this, but even just thinking about the way we grab things and the way we pull things, we're so often just kind of throwing our bones around and not actively engaging muscles as we pick up or move things. So that's a lot of what mindful movement is about. It's not just grabbing my yoga block, but it's actively engaging all the way through to pull it in. So we're gonna do another little motion with this kind of retracting and mindfulness through the shoulder blades as well as the hips. So we're gonna come shift back into our tabletop, hands grounded nice and firm, knees about hips width apart. We're gonna bring our weight into our left hand, and we're gonna inhale that right arm up nice and high. So we're opening up big here, this nice big stretch. And many of us have done this before. So right now our shoulders are stacked, which means one on top of the other. We're gonna go ahead and flip the palm to face inwards, and we're gonna come square our shoulders forward. So we're engaging here. We're gonna reach our hand like we're gonna shake someone's hand in front of us. We're trying to keep our shoulder nice and level with the other. As we come through, we're going to make a fist and clench here, and we're gonna imagine pulling in. So we're actively engaging the bicep, engaging the muscles in the back. So we're pulling in here. We're gonna reach through. As we pass the knee, we open up the hand again, and we reach like we're gonna grab something behind us. Good. So we're breathing here. We're feeling the traps engage here. We're feeling the triceps. We're feeling the back, the lats. We're going to begin to lift up, and we're going to hit this point where we can't go anymore. And that's where we come through and turn and come forward again. Good. So being mindful of this rotation of our arm the whole way through, we're going to do 4 more. So that was 1. We're going to pull through, reach back as we sit back, up and around. Nice big stretch at the top. Come forward, shake the hand. Good. Pull through. That's 2. Inhaling nice and big up and around, super mindful of our motion. Pulling through for 3. Opening back around all the way up. Dialing down forward, engaging our core the whole time too. 4, 1 more. Nice and mindful, stopping halfway here, right in this middle spot, reaching all the way up. We're gonna exhale, thread the needle. So we're gonna go ahead and take this right hand, bring it underneath and through, palm facing up. So nice little shoulder stretch. Good, breathe here. You can take that right hand and ground it down in front of you for support. You can take it to the small of your back, so you can reach around right palm on the small of your back, or around to grab the opposite thigh. Whatever feels best for you. Just take your time wherever you are. One nice deep breath. And very gently, we're going to bring our right hand down if it is up. Plant firmly, left hand down if it is up. Plant firmly. Pull the right arm through. Inhale, open all the way up. Nice big stretch. Finish that rotation as we dial forward. Breathe here, engaging, drawing the shoulder down. Engage the core. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Right hand comes down to meet the left. We're gonna go through all that on the other side now. So inhaling, peeling that left arm up nice and high. Good, so nice big stretch, and same thing as we did before, but this time we're gonna come forward, square the shoulders down, shake the hand in front of you, pull the lever in, reach back into your pocket, inhale up and around, find that twist where you need it, come forward. Good, pulling through for 2. Again, you can sit back with this if you'd like, coming all the way up and around, pulling through for 3. And again, we're engaging our core here as well. So pulling through for 4, reaching back, coming up and around. Coming through on our last one, and remembering we're gonna pause as we reach up. So nice big stretch here. Exhale, threading it through, coming on to the left shoulder blade and left palm face up. Right hand can stay firmly planted, or you can inhale it up and around to the small of your back, or around for the opposite thigh, whatever feels best for you here. Breathing wherever you are. And wherever your right hand is, you can just slowly plant it back down. Take one more nice deep breath here. Inhaling, pulling the left arm through, reaching all the way up. Good, and we're staying in this position, and we're gonna go ahead and dial forward like we're gonna shake someone's hand once again. Hold this for 3, 2, 1. Plant that left hand down to meet the right. We're gonna have the option to go to child's pose if you want, or we're gonna go through a quick down dog. So if you'd like to take down dog, you can bring your hands a little bit farther in front of you. Maybe set yourself up, tuck the toes, bend the knees, bring the hips towards the heels. Push back, belly is connected to the thighs, and then begin to drop the heels. So pedal it out here. Good, take your time. Five nice deep breaths here. Trying to really ground down through all 4 corners of the hands, rotating the biceps away from the ears. Breathing in and out through the nose. Nice and slow, we're gonna go through a quick little fun wave motion. So this can be a little bit difficult, so if you wanna open your eyes, if they're closed, and watch me first, you can feel free to do so. So we're here in our down dog, and we're gonna do this motion where we pull through our shoulders, come up onto our tippy toes, come forward into an up dog. Then we're gonna go ahead and come back, come through, reach back, and then come all the way to child's. And do one more of those, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and start in child's pose, downward facing dog, rounding like our cat pose. We roll through the shoulders, come through an upward facing dog, modified version. Good, breathe here, coming back through the down dog. So lifting, rolling all the way back. This is like our body wave. Some styles of yoga or movement call this body wave. So I invite you guys to take a second here. If you want, take a little bit of time in child's pose or take one more body wave if you're feeling it. So really try to move your body like a wave, roll it all the way through. Good. Bring you back in your child's pose, bring the knees nice and wide, sit back on your heels. Begin to come into your breath. Take your time here. We're gonna come through a quick puppy pose before we wrap up this. So bringing our elbows down in front of us, maybe walking our hands a little bit further, beginning to lift our hips and trying to bring our chest down. So breathing here, taking our time, taking whatever variation you might need. And then eventually we're just going to begin to pull ourselves all the way through onto our bellies. So I'm going to give you guys the option for a lazy yoga Shavasana. So we quite often in Shavasana do like we did in the beginning and we lie on our backs. I want to give you guys the options to make a pillow with your hand, or you can go ahead and bring cactus arms out to the side. You can bring one knee up. You can use your block as a pillow. And we're just going to begin to settle down. Coming into our breath once again. Taking whatever we need here. I personally like, these blocks are a little bit rough, so I like to use my hands. Just take a moment to settle in. Coming back to your breath, closing your eyes. Yeah, maybe breathing in and out through the nose. And just coming back maybe to that sense meditation we did at the beginning. Noticing what you might see with your eyes closed. Noticing if you have any other sensations of taste or smell happening. As we come into our Shavasana, noticing what we may hear. Typically, while in Shavasana is when we become the most distracted by noise. Taking note of how your body feels on the floor. Does it feel different to take a Shavasana in this way? And noticing if your shoulders or hips feel a little bit more open. And then with your eyes closed, visualizing your body sinking into the floor, nice and comfy. And then our last sense that's not technically a sense, taking note of our breath. Maybe this time slowing our breathing, letting our body be heavy, and just taking the next minute for ourselves. Wherever we are, keeping our eyes closed, maybe bringing some awareness back into our body. Maybe wiggling the fingers of the toes, maybe switching which way you have your head facing. Let's take one nice deep breath before we begin to move. And then very gently at your own pace, you can begin to bend the knees, maybe roll out the ankles. Begin to come up onto the wrists or elbows. We're gonna go ahead and bend our knees and just shoot back to a child's pose. So nice and slow at your own pace, taking your time, lifting up, pushing back. Taking a nice deep breath here in child's pose. In and out through the nose. And then whenever we're ready, we can begin to come through our tabletop to our easy seat. So back to our Sukhasana. Breathing here, settling back in. Be fixing yourself if you're all wrinkled. So taking your time, closing your eyes here, lengthening through the spine, drawing the shoulders up to the ears and rolling back. Breathing here. Take a second to just settle back in. Check in with yourself and your body. Notice how you feel. I'm going to do one final lion's breath as usual. So inhaling in through the nose, exhaling loudly through the mouth. Inhale, lengthen. Good. Go ahead and inhale your hands up above, nice and high. Exhale your hands through to your heart. Take a second here, lift your sternum to your thumb. And you can go ahead and bow your head down. And like many of you may have heard me say, we're not really always bowing to other people and teachers. We're kind of doing this as bowing to the teacher in you. It's you that decided to come here today and do this for yourself. So thank yourself for that. So thank you guys, as always, for joining me. And I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a nice, slow little flow. So I hope this may be one that you revisit, even if you just revisit the meditation. So thank you guys, as always.